Welcome back to Drift into Bharat. Tonight, we travel back to the 16th century, to the grand courts of the Mughal Empire, where a young boy would grow up to become one of India's greatest emperors. This is the story of Akbar and the man who would become his most trusted advisor, Birbal. Let this story carry you gently into a peaceful rest. Chapter 1. A Young King. In the year 1542, a child was born in the small town of Umarkot. His name was Akbar. His father, Humayun, was the Mughal emperor, but his reign was far from stable. Humayun had been defeated and exiled, forced to flee his own kingdom. Young Akbar grew up not in royal comfort, but on the run, moving from place to place, learning at a very early age the harsh realities of survival and power. When Humayun finally reclaimed his throne, it seemed peace had returned, but fate had other plans. Just months later, Humayun suffered a fatal accident and passed away. Akbar was only 13 years old. Suddenly, a young boy, barely a teenager, found himself responsible for an empire surrounded by enemies on all sides. Chapter 2. The Young Emperor. With the guidance of his regent, Bairam Khan, young Akbar began to navigate the dangerous world of politics and warfare. His first major test came quickly, the Second Battle of Panipat, a decisive battle against powerful rivals who sought to crush the young empire before it could grow. Despite his age, Akbar's forces emerged victorious. This victory secured his throne and showed the empire that despite his youth, this young emperor possessed remarkable strength and strategic mind. Over the following years, Akbar matured, not just as a ruler, but as a visionary. Unlike many rulers of his time, Akbar believed in something revolutionary, unity among his diverse empire. He sought not just to conquer, but to govern wisely, to bring together Hindus, Muslims, and people of all backgrounds under one peaceful rule. He expanded his empire through both military conquest and clever alliances, marrying into Rajput families, building bridges rather than only walls. Akbar's court soon became one of the most sophisticated and culturally rich in the world. Chapter 3. The Navratnas. As Akbar's empire grew stronger, he surrounded himself with 9 extraordinarily talented individuals. These 9 gems, known as the Navratnas, included poets, musicians, military strategists, and wise advisors. Among them, one figure would become legendary for his wit and wisdom. His name was Birbal. Chapter 4. The Arrival of Birbal. Birbal was not born into nobility. He came from a humble background, a poet and musician known throughout his region for his sharp intellect and quick thinking. According to popular legend, Birbal first caught Akbar's attention in a rather unusual way. It is said that one day, Akbar, in a playful mood, posed a riddle to his entire court. "How many crows are there in the city?" the emperor asked. The court fell silent. No one dared to answer such an impossible question. Then, a confident voice spoke up. It was Birbal. "Your Majesty," he said with a calm smile, "there are exactly 9,999 crows in the city." Akbar raised an eyebrow, amused. "And how do you know this so precisely?" Birbal replied, "If you find more crows than this number, it simply means Relatives have come to visit from neighboring towns. And if you find fewer, it means some crows have gone to visit their relatives elsewhere. The entire court burst into laughter. Akbar was deeply impressed, not just by the humor, but by the sheer cleverness of the answer. From that day, Birbal earned a permanent place in the royal court. Chapter 5. The Growing Bond. As time passed, Akbar and Birbal developed a remarkable friendship. Birbal was not afraid to speak his mind, even to the emperor himself. Many other courtiers grew envious of Birbal's quick rise and his closeness to Akbar. They often tried to trap him in difficult situations, hoping he would fail and lose favor. But time and time again, Birbal's wit saved him. One famous tale tells of jealous courtiers who once challenged Birbal to draw a line and somehow make it shorter without touching it. Birbal simply drew a longer line next to it. Instantly, the first line appeared shorter. In comparison, the court was once again amazed by his clever, simple solution. These were not just stories of cleverness. They carried within them deeper lessons about perspective, about wisdom, and about looking at problems in entirely new ways. Chapter 6. The Test of Patience. One bitterly cold winter, Akbar decided to test the limits of human endurance. He announced that anyone willing to stand in the freezing river throughout the entire night would be rewarded with a generous sum of gold. A poor man, desperate for money, stepped forward and accepted the challenge. Through the long freezing night, he stood in the icy waters, shivering but determined. By morning, he had survived. He came to claim his reward. But jealous courtiers whispered to Akbar that the man must have cheated. Perhaps he had used a distant lamp on a nearby hill to keep himself warm. Akbar, influenced by these doubts, refused to pay the reward. The poor man, heartbroken, went to Birbal for help. Birbal listened carefully and devised a clever plan. The next day, Birbal did not appear in court. Akbar sent for him. Concerned, Birbal sent a message explaining that he was cooking dinner, but the pot was hanging high above the floor while the fire was lit far below it on the ground. Confused, Akbar went himself to see this strange sight. He found Birbal sitting beside a fire built on the ground, while a cooking pot hung from the ceiling, several feet above the flames. "How?" Akbar asked. "Do you expect this food to cook? The fire is too far from the pot." Birbal smiled and replied, "Your Majesty, if a distant fire on a faraway hill can warm a man standing in a freezing river, then surely this fire, though far from my pot, should be able to cook my dinner." Akbar paused and then began to laugh. He understood immediately the deeper meaning behind Birbal's clever demonstration. The poor man was telling the truth. A distant lamp could never truly provide warmth. Akbar immediately ordered that the reward be given to the honest man. Once again, Birbal's wit had revealed a truth that words alone could not have proven. Chapter 7. The Wisest Answer. On another occasion, Akbar wished to test not just Birbal's wit, but the wisdom of his entire court. He posed a question to all his ministers. "Whose creation," he asked, "is greater, God's or man's?" Many ministers, afraid of giving the wrong answer, remained silent. Some, cautiously, praised God's creation as the only correct answer, fearing that anything else might offend religious sentiments. When it was Birbal's turn, he offered a different perspective. "Your Majesty," Birbal said, calmly, "man's creation is greater." The court gasped. Such an answer seemed dangerously bold. Akbar leaned forward, intrigued. "Explain yourself," he said. Birbal continued, "God creates trees, but man creates beautiful gardens, arranging them with care and purpose. God creates rivers, but man builds canals, directing water to nourish entire civilizations. God creates raw materials, but man transforms them into magnificent palaces, intricate art, and powerful empires. It is not," Birbal explained, "that man's creation surpasses the divine, but rather man takes what is given and shapes it with purpose, effort, and vision." The court fell into thoughtful silence. Akbar nodded slowly, deeply impressed. Once again, Birbal had shown that true wisdom often lies, not in simple answers, but in seeing the deeper meaning behind every question. Chapter 8: Advisor to the Emperor. Beyond the witty tales, Birbal became one of Akbar's most trusted advisors. He assisted in matters of governance, diplomacy, and even military strategy. Akbar valued not just his humor, but his deep understanding of human nature and his ability to solve complex problems with simple, elegant solutions. Their relationship went beyond emperor and courtier. It became a friendship built on mutual respect and trust. Akbar often sought Birbal's counsel before making important decisions, trusting his judgment above many other advisors. Chapter 9: A Lasting Legacy. Together, Akbar and Birbal became symbols of a golden era in Mughal history. Akbar's reign brought together a vast and diverse empire under policies of tolerance and inclusion. His court flourished with art, literature, and architecture. And Birbal, through his timeless tales, became a symbol of wisdom, wit, and the power of clever thinking. Even today, centuries later, the stories of Birbal's cleverness continue to be told to children and adults alike, carrying with them lessons that remain timeless. And so, in the grand courts of the Mughal Empire, a young king who once fled for his life rose to become one of history's greatest rulers. And beside him stood a humble man whose wit outshone the wealth and power that surrounded him. Their story reminds us that true wisdom often comes not from power or wealth, but from a clever mind and an open heart. For now, let this story settle gently in your thoughts. Rest well, traveler of Bharat. We shall meet again in the next echo of time.